YouTube is so fun. I got a comment basically saying like, "Oh, it's a let me pull it up." Talking about how it's a good idea for Asian men to go gay given the whole WMAF situation. And girly pop, what about this makes you think I'm going to be on your side? Doesn't it look like I'm about to sing a song cover, but like one of the male ones from a different person's perspective? I mean, I could. You have kissed too many boys in bars. Get yourself tested for STDs. First of all, I might be gay, but I'm dating a white man. Secondly, that's a very dangerous thing to say considering our political climate. Like, if they ever do ban gay marriages, trust me, like, so many lavender marriages will become a thing. Like, all the twinks and their girlies, gone. Those girlies, off the market for you. Like you were never gonna get them anyway, but like, off the market for you. And I don't think you realize this, but gays will literally happily provide way better than you. Like a twink's wet dream is literally a blue collar job. I said what I said. On a more serious note, I feel like this is a subject I know a lot about, so I think I'm gonna give my 2 cents. I'm gonna give my 2 cents. WMAF stands for White Male Asian Female. I am still an Asian man. Part of me wants to understand what's going on that's making Asian man so cranky and selly, but like another part is like, bruh. Creepy white guys have been incels for decades. That's like a whole thing. Now Asian guys are gonna say that like white guys are somehow superior. Like, then why are white men incels? So I am technically like considered fresh off the boat or first generation, depending on how Asian you are, like on the level of it. Because like technically I wasn't born in America, but I also moved here like really, really young. So like I don't have a lot of connections to Asian culture as much as I should. But then I also have a lot of extra Asian culture because like I was raised by my grandparents and I was raised by like just under a lot of non-English speakers. That being said, the way I was raised, had I not been, I totally would have been in like one of those angry Asian guys' shoes right now who's like, "Oh, WMAF. Oh, Oxford study." Also, if you don't know what the Oxford study is, it's basically the same thing as like the white male Asian Asian white male Asian female thing where the most like popular interracial couple is like a white man and an Asian female. And like a lot of Asian guys are upset about that. It's kind of the reason I'm not on TikTok because TikTok keeps recommending me those like things, but like from the Asian guy's perspective. The last time I went on TikTok, I saw this video where it was, "Oh, your Asian crush is dating a mid-white man." Ah. And honestly, as she should, there are probably some Asian girls who prefer white guys over Asian men, like just in general. But like I kind of get why. Back to my story. Growing up Asian was like a very interesting experience. I was always deemed as like the future head of the household. Like essentially I was going to be the heir who carries on my family name, which also doesn't matter because I did switch back to my mom's maiden name. Fuck you, dad. He never loved me. So I was raised under this like intense pressure to constantly study and be better and be the best in everything. But I was also raised to not do useful life skills. Things like cooking, because, you need to eat to survive. Things like cleaning, because I don't want to live in like a basement. Things like budgeting, just overall management of my finances, the caretaking of a home in general. Like, I had nothing to do with a presence at home. I think like one time I tried to pick up a broom and I actually got like yelled at for it. Needless to say, it was very weird growing up because I only have one sister. She was raised under the same ish pressure, but like it was a lot less because like, oh, she should study as long as she can, but it doesn't matter that much because she's a girl. And it was a little bit funky because she kind of had a lot of pressure to learn things around the house, like from the very young age, like literally like the second she could walk, she became like a second mom to me because like she was the one cooking, cleaning, and taking care of things. The more Asian people I talk to, the more I realize that's a pretty common occurrence, which is again very strange because I always thought that the way my family did things was so out of pocket. During family gatherings, all the men would go out and smoke and drink and whatnot. and then all the women would go inside the house and cook, clean up, and do everything. And then by the time that the food is done and prepped, they give out all the pretty dishes to the men, and then like they're sitting out here eating like basically leftovers or like whatever. I always felt weird because like I was kind of a man, so I would kind of get served like that as well. But like I also felt like a responsibility to get up and help. But then all the guys would be like, "Oh no, don't." And I'm like, I would rather be in there helping than stay out here with your cigarette smoke and get myself lung cancer. And I don't know if being gay had anything to do with it, but like I've seen a lot of other kids not take that step. So needless to say, she was kind of a radio rebel. Anyways, I started learning how to cook, clean, and all that other jazz from my sister. Um, she's a doctor now, so thanks, mom. I guess maybe that's the right way to raise your kids. I don't know. Also, on like a more personal side, like my mom always talked about how lucky my sister was to get accepted into a good university because she never focused on her. Like that's and she brags about it to her friends like it's a good thing. Like it's really not. That's like kind of gross. That's neglectful, mom. I had to take a break because it was getting a little bit real. It was getting a little bit too personal. I know I say like talking about things like this is like my therapy, but like that that was too much. That was too much. Gotta dial it back a little bit. Needless to say, full Asian relationships aren't the most healthy ones. The woman in the relationship usually feels obligated to take on more caretaking roles, and the man in the relationship always feels the need to be a provider, but I feel like somewhere within those lines when ancestry wise we moved to America, those lines kind of got blurred because men nowadays don't really provide because both partners have to work in order to maintain like a good lifestyle. If you're Asian and you have extended family, just take a look around, like a little quick survey poll if you will. Just how many family styles where like the Asian woman works a full-time job, bringing in like the probably the same amount dollar for dollar amount as the man, but then she goes home and then she cooks, cleans, does all the chores, laundry, she preps everything around the household, and then the man comes home and then he just like, ugh, on the couch. Do you see where I'm getting at? The fact that not a lot of people have issues with it, especially not teenage Asian guys growing up in that environment or like seeing that environment. I was a loudmouth. People hated me. Like my family hates me. Like aside from like people my age, like older people, they hate me because again, gay, loudmouth, and the thing is, like if I was a woman, they could ignore me, but like because I'm a dude, they literally have to listen to me. It's so weird. Point is, misogyny is so real. Like it's so livid in Asian culture. So it's just so weird to me that one of the biggest arguments I see for like Asian guys when they say they want an Asian girl is, "Oh, I just want to keep our culture and tradition alive." Like, bruh. Like I don't know what else to say. Bruh. 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 And the thing about culture is that as Asian people, we tend to generalize it a lot, but specifics in culture is very localized historically. It's very geographically locked. Even in one country, there's multiple different languages, multiple different dialects, and each dialect potentially has multiple different districts where they all do things differently. So, unless you're trying to keep your culture alive, you have to date and marry a girl from your same district. You can't you can't go out of that. Like she has to speak the same language, and not to mention like, you're getting to know someone. You There are gonna be differences. She's not gonna be like your mom, you know. I just find it really weird when I hear the whole, oh, but I just want to keep our culture alive. Bro, you grew up in America. What kind of culture do you really have that's like just Asian? There's food, boba. I feel like boba deserves like a standalone point because boba is boba. And I don't know, K-pop, maybe New Year's. Like, is that that's like one of the only celebrations I know that most Asian Americans still celebrate. So it's like, huh, you really just want a caretaker then. Make a lot of money and hire yourself a maid. And like I said, There are most likely a lot of Asian women who like white men and find them more attractive than Asian men as a whole. But you also got to think about history and culture, preserving it. Historically, Asian women have been under a lot of pressure beauty standards wise. The beauty standards are always things like fair skin, big eyes. Now, one possible interpretation that might accumulate over centuries and centuries of that beauty standard being kicked in for women is light skin and bigger eyes are more attractive. And it might lead to the idea that white men might possibly be more attractive than Asian men. For some people, I'm just giving like an idea for you to like think of like one possible repercussion that Asian culture might have that doesn't actually benefit the man for once. It's just one possible explanation. I'm not against that at all. You do you. My mom likes white guys. How do you think I ended up in the States? There are plenty of full on Asian couples, but they adapt to the modern world where, I don't know, they treat each other with respect. Those are usually the relationships that you see lasting a really, really long time. Correction. That lasts a really long time where both people are happy in it. And back to the looks thing, do you realize how fetishized Asian men have been just within the past 5, maybe 10 years? Ever since the BTS boom, like Asian men have not been considered ugly at all. And the thing is, like, even if you don't fit like the beauty standard that East Asians have set, then you have people like Sang-chi, Asian Ken. I think that's the same guy, actually. I don't know. It's really not about looks, it's about personality. And I know that sounds cheesy, but this applies to hot guys too. And if y'all took Intro to Sociology, like yours truly, and are passing, you know exactly what it means to be white in America. Like, there are a lot of benefits to being with a white person. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have like personal stories. Even just going to restaurants, you get treated better. I don't know why, you just do get treated better. I once went to this restaurant that I hated beforehand with a white guy, like I met on Hinge or something. We got sat like really fast. It was really busy. Food, drinks, and everything came out perfectly and on time. And then like the table across from us started making small talk. Our waiter kept like coming back and talking to us, and it just felt so nice. And then I went there 2 weeks later with my sister, and they treated us like really bad. It's like one of those things where you don't notice until like you're on the other side of privilege, and then you get the privilege and then like it's taken away from you, that like you're like, "Ooh, I want that back." But like the thing is, I didn't know it without going on that date. Whenever I went beforehand, it was always with like my minority friends or like my family. So it was no white people in the mix. So we always hated that place because we were like, oh, like it's just bad in general. But no, they're just purposely giving the minorities like bad areas. And like I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Like I'm not accusing the waiter or like whatever of racism. Like I know that's a very loaded word for white people. I work with a lot of white coworkers. Like I literally know how y'all get whenever it's like, "Oh, but I'm not racist." That's fine. Okay, like can I ask why you just gave me like all the tables that are like people of color? Oh, I'm not racist. But here, you're Asian, like you're a minority. You can just take all the minority tables. Nah, nah, I'm kind of full. You want to take care of that as they have such an attitude. I see the way that they get served. It's like whenever I'm out with my sister or like my minority friends, we get sat in like the table next to the restrooms or like the bus tables. And then like when I get sat with a white guy, it's like right out front, like right in the middle of like there's like a lamp hanging above us, the perfect ambient lighting. The waiter actually comes by around. When I was out with my sister like a few weeks later, our food and drinks came out at the same time. Like, can you imagine like your drinks were sitting there. Like, it was very watered down. Like, there was, like, condensation on the glass, and they still brought out the same old drinks. That's a little bit rude, you know what I mean? And I know what you're thinking, but, like, no, we always tip 20%, and I was, like, looking over my shoulder when I saw that guy paying, too. I was like, "He's just tipping 20%." So, it's literally not, like, better tippers or anything. I know so many people who would never ever, who would never, with like a 10-foot pole, even touch a white man. Do you understand how sucky someone has to be as a person for someone else to avoid them because of you? White people are literally like the privileged side of America. Just being next to a white person gets you that like model minority privilege. The fact that so many white guys still fumble the bag is ridiculous. And the same thing goes for Asian guys. You are out here being fetishized like a lot from every angle. The fact that you are fumbling right now is a you problem. That's not a societal problem. At least on an education scale, Asian people have c- been considered white now. Don't you go side eyeing me for the way I said that. Yeah, I said what I said. Because y'all remember that literally on a court case, fully on educated white men at the time were deciding about what qualified as white. And then, like, a South Asian guy proved that he was white. And then they decided, no, you're still not white because white is what the common man believes is white. So America's kind of gross with the racism shit. Oh my god, controversial opinion. What? It's really not. But like I just know people are gonna find this a controversial opinion. You don't get how far it goes. Like they literally allowed white people to build generational wealth by having them move to all these like suburban blissful homes for like a fraction of the price. And then they overcharged like people of color trying to move into those suburban blisses and then had all the white people move out. So they were all making money off of people of color. Like literally. See, I always knew that there was like a weird racism thing going on because like every time I walk out with a white person, it feels like the world is different. It feels like the world is open. Like I am happy, I am singing, like the birds are chirping. But like when I hang out with minority friends, like the second like the white topic hits the table, it's like done. It's not fun. It's not fun. It really imagine how it would feel if you were actually a woman. It's like worse, you know what? And I feel like a good example of this is like white gay men solely because they only see how they get treated bad as a gay man, but because they are still a white man at the end of the day, they get treated really well. So like they only ever see it when they're not being treated well, and they're like, "Oh, this is such a gay thing." But then when it comes to race, all of a sudden it's like, I did not expect it to go this far. But point is, don't be an incel. That's kind of gross. White incels have existed for like a long, long time before Asian men even entered the picture. So WMAF doesn't mean you can't get yourself a girlfriend. You just need to become a better person. Jeez, that went really far. Like I got like knee deep into like societal racism. Oh my god, like should I switch majors? Cause like my first A since like middle school.